Wednesday, September the 23rd. Lake level's 915 and a half. It's about the same it's been for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. Water temperature's coming down. It seems to be mid-70s, 72 to 75, depends where you're at. Now, I didn't do a fishing report last week. I was gone fishing. So I got back in town this weekend and got to fish the last 2 days. But they had the Anglers in Action tournament this past weekend. Looks like the top, 12 places, the weights were really good, and then it dropped like a rock. And I noticed out of 80 boats, only about 42 weighed in fish. So, and I found the fishing to be pretty tough too the last couple days. It's kind of a grind. Each day we have been able to catch 5 keepers, but we've really had to mix it up. To me, it's getting to be like, typical early fall, late September, early October fishing. Fish are really scattered, and it seems like it's all about the bait. If you can get around the bait, you can get bit. Now, I've been catching some fish, and I think a lot of the fish in the tournament were caught shallow on whopper ploppers, probably some on a buzz bait. I've been throwing a whopper plopper quite a bit the last few days, and we've had some good quality fish on it, but not a lot of them. We've had a couple, good solid ones in the morning. Seems to die out about 9 o'clock. And I've been mixing it up, whether I've been throwing the medium size or the bigger one, and I've been mixing the colors up. Monkey butt, white or black seems to be working, but not getting enough bites on it to be able to tell you it's got to be a certain size or certain color. And even on the type of structure I'm fishing, the only thing I have figured out is that they are dead shallow. I mean, you literally got to hit the bank, and the first 4 or 5 feet up in the bank if you're going to get bit. Now, everything I'm catching out deep seems to be wood related. Doesn't really seem to be the case with the whopper plopper. It's nice to come by a laydown or a piece of wood, but the last couple mornings have been cloudy, and I actually found topwater bites gotten a little bit better, way back in the creeks once the sun's got up. And once the sun gets up, it seems like if I see quite a bit of bait, I can get bit in the very backs of either pockets or creeks. And I fished from the dam to Baxter to the mid-James River the last couple days. So I've covered quite a little bit of water. Most all the water, as far as the clarity, looks about the same. But a bait that's been working good for me when they don't want to chase that whopper plopper, when the shad get up, is a sexy shad. Strike King sexy shad. It's just like a Zara spook. It seems like, I think any kind of walking bait will work, like a Splash It or a Pawpaw or Yellow Magic. Seems like when the shad get up, and if you can find a stump or a piece of wood, the fish aren't really wanting that whopper plopper buzzing by. It seems like if I slow down and throw a walking bait by it, I can get a couple fish to come up. And with the stain that's in the water throughout the lake, I've also been pitching little 7/16 ultimate finesse jig, and this has got a ledge rock lures medium chunk trailer on it, which really got a lot of action. And I've got bright orange on there. A couple of the fish we caught early Monday morning were belching up orange crawdads. You could see the orange coming out both ends of them. So anyways, that's why I went to the orange crawdad. As far as a bottom bite, I catch a few fish out of some rock piles and conservation piles, and almost anything of any quality that I'm catching is 20 foot or less. Even on the bottom, on the jig, it seems like a few different baits that are working. Is a Strike King Menace on a hard head, a wobble head. I'm also using the same type of head with like a biffle bug. This is the 5-fish lure, 1/2 ounce. Magnum shaky head, that'll work some. And I've been using a football jig as well, but like I say, I'm not getting very many bites, just dragging on the bottom unless I'm around wood. Wood and shad seem to be the big deal. Now, go out there drop shotting, out there on the gravel flats, I don't see much of anything, but certain areas we've got some scattered brush piles. If I get around a brush pile, I catch 2 or 3 fish out of the brush piles, it seems like, and then it quits. And it seems like I got to move around the flat and find some more wood, whether it be a lay down piece of wood out there in 25 to 30 foot of water, or a brush pile. And also on the drop shot, there's been a bite out there like on the bluff ends and out over deep timber. Like I said, it seems like they're either relating to shad or the wood. So if you can get out over some deep trees, the bottom depth really doesn't matter, but the depth you want to be keying on is that 25 to 35 feet where the tops of them trees come up to that depth, whether it's on bluff ends, in the centers of the creeks. A lot of the shad are starting to move back into creeks, but I've ran a lot of creeks the last few days, and it's been very inconsistent as far as where in the creek I found the shad. It seemed like in the morning there's quite a little bit of shad up, and then with these last 2 days where it's been cloudy, I hadn't seen the bait very much till later in the day when the sun came up. But if a guy can find, if he's throwing a whopper plopper or any kind of reaction bait, if you can find the bait, back in the creek somewhere, I think that's where your better bite's going to be. But right now, when these fish scatter like this, there's no thermocline. You could catch fish, in 2 foot of water, or you can catch them out there in 50 foot of water. And it's really a tough time of year to put a solid pattern on the fish. It seems like you got to keep an open mind, keep moving. Even a few of the guys I know that did well in this tournament this past weekend, I heard very few of them talking about, catching a lot of keepers. A lot of them just had 5 or 6 keepers. So, it's been a grind. But the quality fish, I think, without a doubt, are relatively shallow, 20 feet or less. But I think there's a lot more bigger fish out there in that open water. Once this water starts to cool down a little bit, should start moving up into some of that little bit shallower cover. Look for a lot of the secondary points where the cedar trees, where you'd normally throw a jerk bait in the spring, or places that you would fish topwater in the post spawn. Look for them fish to start moving back into those areas as they start their migration back in. And another thing, not to rule out, I haven't thrown it very much, but it's about time to pick up that rock crawler and wiggle wart, especially with the depth that the fish are at. Now, I've thrown a square bill quite a little bit. If I'm not in a creek that has bait, it seems like I can't get a bite on it. But if I can get into a pocket where I can visually see the shad, where it looks like a cloud, I can take a 1.5 or 2.5 and crank it underneath that bait, and a lot of times catch a fish under them. But, for the most part, the weather's gorgeous. There's hardly nobody out there. And, like I say, I think it's just a grind. You just got to keep your head down and keep positive attitude and keep fishing. So, till next week, good luck, good fishing.